welcome back to my channel for today's 2024 Finishes Parade and 2025 Goals overview video. I am so happy you're here. If you're new, hi, my name is Bridget, and this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about my crafting life, mostly about cross stitch. Today will just be a cross stitch specific video. I'm going to take you through everything that I finished in the year 2024. That is cross stitch, and I figured we would chat a little bit about my plans for 2025, my different goal mindsets, and the projects that I want to focus on and when. It's going to be a very similarly structured video to my friend Cameron of Cam the Stitcher fame, her 2025 goals video as well, because I love her and we share a lot of the same goals, and I just thought this would be kind of fun. I think I ended up not really filming a finish parade for 2023, so I wanted to make sure that I did this because I love this and I worked really hard on a lot of these, and I think they deserve to have their moment in the sun. So you can also go ahead and check out my 2025 whip parade if you're interested in seeing the projects that I'm carrying with me into the next year, and go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to follow along with my stitching journey, and in the comments say hi. Let me know down below what your favorite finish that you did of 2024 was, because I'm very curious. So I will put chapters in this video. I've started doing that and it's very fun. So if you want to skip ahead to just the goal chat or watch just the finish parade, you will be able to do that. But we're going to start with the finishes and then move into the goals. And yeah, so let's get into it. If you hear a little bit of background noise, it is almost the cat's feeding time today, and they get a little rowdy before that. So that's the plan. So my first finish of 2024, well, actually, I guess I should tell you how many I finished. 2024 was my highest finishing year yet. I finished 24 different pieces, which feels very poetic. And I will say several of them are part of the same one singular whip. So I will show those in a category of its own at the end of the finish parade. But as far as unique projects go, I've got 19 or 20, something in that range. I've got a big pile right here in front of me, so I figured we would go chronologically. So the first project that I finished in January was Abuzz at Midnight. I don't actually physically have this one with me. This is a model stitch for my friend Liz of Hello from Liz Mathews, and I was so honored she asked me to model stitch something for her, and I finished it in January for its release at market in March, which is so exciting. So I stitched this on the called for, because it is the called for. This is 36 count sapphire linen by Fiber on a Whim with the NPI silks that Liz came up with. The palette is beautiful, the linen is beautiful, it's an amazing project. I started that one in October of 2023 and then finished it up in January of 2024. My second finish of 2024 was the Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings, which I guess I don't need to show you before pictures because I have the after. But I started this in May of 2022 and finished it up in January of 2024. I stitched this on a 40 count Morning Mist linen by Forbidden Fiber Co. with all the called for flosses, and it is stunning. Oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love this. I have several friends who have finished this or are still working on it as well, and I have more from this series, The Year in the Woods by Cottage Garden Samplings, that I do plan on stitching and have as active whips right now, but this was my first one that I got finished and arguably my favorite from the series, so I absolutely love it. Get you in close. And that is the Fox. That was finish number 2. I will say I am relying pretty heavily on my boards today, because my FFO, or fully finishing rate, of my finishes this year has been pretty low. I think of my finishes, I only have 5 or 6 fully finished. So that's something I definitely want to tackle here in the next upcoming year. But as for now, I finished number 3, my Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery. I love this piece so much. So this piece I started in April of 2023 and finished it in February of 2024, so almost a full year as a whip. This is stitched on 40 count peony linen by Fiber on a Whim with Dinky Dye's pink tourmaline silk. It is stunning. My friend Cam the Stitcher, who I will talk about a lot because I love her so much, came up with this color combination when she was kitting up her Beatrix Potter Quaker sampler, and several of us immediately started something else with this same combination because it's so beautiful. So this is mine. I know my friend Maddie of Kitty Stitch started Quaker Gardens by Hello from Liz Mathews with this one. Cam's doing Beatrix Potter, and Marjorie started Wings of the Dove by Modern Folk Embroidery, I want to say. But it is absolutely beautiful. I love this piece so much. The Jane Austen quote is killer, and I really do need to frame it. It will be an easy one to frame, and I want it on my wall. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I can get this one knocked out. I'm thinking just a white frame. The pink is a little difficult to match because I want it to shine so much, but I absolutely adore this piece. It is charted on a like more neutral linen with black floss. So this is definitely a shake up on the twist, but I like to think Jane Austen would have been down with a pink on pink piece. So this is finish number 3 of the year and one of my absolute favorites. Pink February stitching was my kind of moniker for February of this year. So this definitely fit the bill, and that's why it got done in February. For finish number 4 of the year, my next one was a market start. So I got to go to market in Nashville this year with my friend Liz of Hello from Liz Mathews to help her run her booth. And while I was there, I bought so many charts and I got this frenzy of excitement. And so I started a bunch of stuff and I regret nothing. I'm looking forward to the same experience this year. But this was a little start and finish that I actually got there. This is Pollinator's Garden by October House Fiber Art. I stitched this on 36 count heirloom lace linen by Color and Cotton, just a scrap off of an existing whip. So it was a very scrap friendly project. And I used all the called for DMC. I started this on March 6th and finished it on March 7th of 2024. And I will get you in nice and close. This piece is absolutely stunning. The one thing that's held me up is I'm not sure how I'm going to fully finish this one. There is a part of me that wants to do it as it's called for in like a little long pillow. I think that would be so cute, but I also kind of want to put it on a project folio or project keeper, and then another part of me wants to make it into a cute little floral drum. I think that would be adorable. So I have like 8 ideas for this one, but ultimately I don't know which one I want to commit to for the actual finishing. And that's why it's been kind of languishing in the pile. Otherwise, this would be a very fast finish. But yeah, it took me not very long and I'm obsessed with it. One of my favorite finishes of the year for sure. Next up for finish number 5, I guess, yeah, somewhere in there. I don't know. I need to stop saying numbers because I'm going to lose count and it's going to be embarrassing. But my next finish was another February finish, and this is Needlework by Barrick. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this piece. I saw this first on the wall of my LNS, which is the Stitch Niche in Arlington, and I bought it immediately. And I love it so much. So I started this in February of 2024 and finished it up in March of 2024. I did a full color conversion for this piece. So I stitched mine on 20 count brown sugar Ada by Fiber on a Whim with my own choices of Color and Cotton. This is originally called for in brown and gold, but I changed the gold to a pink and I am obsessed. I think it's so pretty. The modeling on the fabric is insane, and the process of stitching one strand on 20 count Ada is unmatched. If you haven't tried it, it's one of my favorites, and if I'm going to stitch on Ada, it's going to be 20 count here in the future. I just love it so much. It's so easy. It's so beautiful. The coverage is great. These flosses are gorgeous, and I have no regrets on this piece. Absolutely none. Next up was my birthday start. I wasn't anticipating starting anything on my birthday, but like I said, I got wrapped up in cross-stitch excitement and I cranked this one out. This is Cross Stitch Makes Everything Okayer by Lucy Beam. This chart I did my own full color conversion out of my stash for, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. So this is stitched on 40 count hay bale medium linen by Color and Cotton, which was the fabric of the month I got. And I did a full stash Color and Cotton conversion So if you want the actual flosses I used, I think they're in the Instagram post that I made when I finished this piece. But I know it was like 5 colors. It was very easy. A lot of them came from the same monthly floss pack. And that was kind of the inspiration for this conversion, was something kind of Southwestern that I saw when I saw the piece. But that is it. It's definitely very warm. So it's more accurate from back here than when I kind of pull you in closer and it washes out a little bit. But it is beautiful. I love this piece. I love the finish. I love the sentiment. And I do need to get this framed ASAP. Okay, next up we have one of our first FFO'd pieces. And this is actually something I'm not supposed to be showing you right now, but I chickened out. So I stitched this piece, which is Sew Together number 3 from Jeaneatte Douglas Designs, as a swap small for StitchCon this year. And unfortunately, after I stitched it, I fell in love with it and I decided I was gonna keep it and not participate in the smalls exchange. Schwupps. It's fine. I fell in love with it. You can see I even stitched a little SC 24 for StitchCon 24, but I've decided to keep it. I finished this one myself into this really cute little quilted pillow, and I have a few others from this series that I plan to start and finish in the same way so they can kind of sit together. The finish was kind of inspired by a picture I saw of a hands-on design finish, but I just kind of made it up myself out of some random scraps I had, and I'm obsessed. I love it so much. The flosses are so pretty. If you watch my channel for any length of time, or if you just finished my whip parade, I was talking about how blue birds always get me. It's another blue bird, but that's fine. But he's sitting on scissors, and if there's 2 things I can't resist, it's blue stitched birds and craft supplies. So I had to keep it, I had to. So I started this on May 4th and finished it on May 6th of this year. And I stitched it on 40 count platinum by Zweigart with all the called for fancy flosses. So I'm sorry to whoever in the alternate universe got this as the small from the smalls exchange. On this version of Earth, I robbed you of it, and I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry. Next up is a very special finish to me. This is Quaker Gardens by Hello from Liz Mathews. I stitched this with several friends, and they all stitched on this for me. So this was our round robin. This was the logistical nightmare I put my friends through over the last year and a half that we stitched on this. Basically a year that we stitched on this. Anyway, this chart is amazing, but we decided to each pick a flower, or each stitch a flower on everybody's piece. So as we passed them around in a circle, everybody touched everybody's stitch, and at the end you get this amazing piece that your friends all worked on, and they all stitched their initials near the flowers that they made. And I am obsessed with it. It's so special to have a piece that represents your stitchy friends. And a lot of us finished this together at StitchCon this year. I'll put a little picture of us ringing the bell together up. It was very fun, but I don't think I'll be able to convince them to do another one anytime soon because it is a lot of logistics of sending things around and keeping things on time, and it's just a whole big mess. So that is Quaker Gardens. I'm so happy to have it done though. When it came back to me, I stitched the bottom row. I stitched this on 36 count Bramble linen by Picture This Plus with color and cotton patchwork, one of my favorite purple flosses. And the amazing thing about this fabric is it's very gray, but when you match it with a purple floss, it picks up all the purple undertones in the fabric. And I love it. It's beautiful. The coverage is amazing. And that is Quaker Gardens. So my StitchCon finished this year. So technically started this on July 24th of 2023, finished it June 7th of 2024. And oh, actually I also have other stats I have been neglecting, but this had 26 active days of me working on it. Thank you, Notion. Speaking of StitchCon, I had a little StitchCon SAF with some of my friends, and this was a little chart that was included in the StitchCon passport. It's I don't even know that it had a name. Maybe, I think what I wrote down is a little gift. I'm not sure. This is by Hillis Designs, and I started this on June 8th, finished it on June 10th. This is stitched on 18 count Wanderlust Ada from Millennial Fabrics, who was actually passing out these little ornament scraps at StitchCon. So we all got a little ornament scrap, and then we went to Keepsakes and bought some fancy flosses and divided them up between us. And then we all stitched the piece with the same flosses that we kitted up while we were there. So we changed the words down here. I don't even know what it said before, but I charted out the girlies, and I need to FFO this so bad. I really dropped the ball on that because it's so little and it's so easy, but I love it. I was able to stitch this with one strand on the 18 and the coverage is great, but that is a little gift, and that was my little friends piece. I need to put 2024 on here somewhere. I didn't do that. But yeah, that was our little StitchCon table start, I guess is the better way to describe it. This summer was the summer of smalls for me. So after finishing that one, I did start and finish another one that is also FFO'd. This is Pink Pony Club by Stitch Sprout. I am obsessed with this. I started it and finished it in June of 2024. Love it. It took 2 days and it was so easy. I stitched this on, I think it's a 32 count pink splash fabric that I had in my stash for forever. It's very faint. You can kind of see some of the speckles on the fabric here and here. I should have stitched this on something more pink. Actually, an offshoot of the peony linen would have been gorgeous. And then I actually tried making my own cording for the first time when I finished this sucker up, and I love it. I think I did change some of the colors on this piece. I know for a fact I stitched the gold with a metallic floss, and I think I don't think I changed any of the colors, but I think I swapped some around. I'm not 100% sure though. That was back in June. That was 6 months ago. And then I backed it with this awesome mirror ball fabric that my friend Marjorie sent me. And that's Pink Pony Club. Next up was a finish of one of my oldest whips. This is one I'm so happy is finished, like incredibly happy, you have no idea. But this is Move Forward in Love by Modern Folk Embroidery. I am stitching the monochromatic version, but there is also a full color version. This is my Stitch for Pride stitch from 2022. So I started it on June 1st and I finished it June 25th of 2024. I stitched mine on 46 count over the moon linen by Color and Cotton with Forbidden Fiber Company Dark Cherry as the floss. And I'm so happy I got it done. It is stunning. I framed it here in just a little 7x7 white frame. I think it's pulls the colors beautifully. And this is my only red sampler I've ever done. I need to do another one because it really is beautiful. But I was really happy to crank this out. 2024 was the year of finishing Modern Folk Embroideries for me. I think I finished 3 or 4, somewhere in that vein, but a lot of them. And I love this one. I think it's so beautiful. I'm very happy to have cranked it out. It did not need to be a whip for a whole nother year. So that is Move Forward in Love. And rounding out the summer of smalls and the summer of fully finishing, because my goodness, all my fully finishes are clustered here together. I started and finished a little freebie from the Midsummer Stitch event hosted by Lindy Stitches. It was so much fun. Stephanie invited some of us to do a little stitching table, which was great. And so quite a few of us started the little small from Tiny Modernist. And this is what it looks like up close. I actually just finished this with scraps from my stash. So this is a scrap of 40 count Heather by Fiber on a Whim with a couple colors of DMC I just pulled. So it's a monochromatic purple. And I made my own cording again. I had no idea how to make the hanger though, so I did kind of beef that. It's not the neatest it could be, but it's just a little retreat small, so it's totally fine. And I finished it with just some purple fabric I had in my stash, and that is that. I'm definitely thinking that for my StitchCon small that I did, I want to do a very similar style finish. It is so incredibly easy, and I could even do it kind of as an oval shape, and that would be gorgeous. But that is the Midsummer Stitch freebie from the Midsummer Stitch Virtual Retreat. My next finish, I definitely should have FFO'd this year, but I didn't, and that's okay. This is Giving Thanks by Little House Needleworks. I stitched this with one strand of the Called For Fancy Floss on 36 count ballet slippers by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm obsessed with this. It says, "I'm thankful for my daily bread and also for my cross-stitch thread." And this was a great travel project for a trip I took in July. I brought this internationally with me and worked on it there. Cranked out the finish. I was inspired to stitch this after I saw it in the back of one of Julie, Kansas City Girl in Colorado World's videos, and I fell in love with it and I ordered it right then and there. So very happy to have cranked that out. I'm working on like a little Thanksgiving display for like little cute fall things, and I have a little turkey from Lindy Stitches that I finished, and then I have this, so hopefully that can kind of go together, and maybe like one more to kind of round it out. But I love this, and I stitched this on a pretty small scrap of the fabric, so that worked out absolutely wonderfully for me. But I started this November 2023, finished it August 2024. We're starting to hit some more recent finishes. This next one I finished in October, and this is Olga by Plum Street Samplers. I started this in December 2023 and cranked it out in October of this year. I love this piece so much. This is stitched on 36 count flannel flower, which also, if you just watched my whip parade, I was raving about how this is my desert island neutral, and I still couldn't agree more. I stitched this with the called for classic Colorworks with one strand on this 36 count linen, and I'm obsessed. I stitched on this for 10 active days as a whip in the time that it was sat in my whip pile, and I love it. I love it so much. The little grumpy cat, funky alphabet. I did change my initials to a different color in the alphabet, but other than that, I believe that's the only change that I made to this chart. Everything else is as called for. This should be another pretty easy finish. Square frames are so easy to find, and can add it to my little fall display. I love the pumpkins. It was such an easy one to work on, and I love it. Then I finished All Are Equal in Death by Modern Folk Embroidery. Again, it was a Modern Folk Embroidery finishing kind of year. This color conversion was developed by Timber Sips over on Instagram, and when I saw it, I had to have it. My friends Cam and Marjorie also started this project with me, and I think Cam's still working on it. I think Marjorie is just stitching the skeleton in the coffin and calling it a day. But yeah, I stitched it with 4 different colors. It's a monochromatic piece, but I followed Timber Sip's photo on 40 count Catacombs linen by Bestitch Me, which is gorgeous. And I used a variegated DMC for the leaves that I intentionally stitched with the lightest here going out to the darkest, and it creates the coolest effect. So absolutely adore this. Can't wait to add it to my spooky season decor for next year. I think I'm just going to frame it, but I absolutely adore it. Started it in October 2023, finished it in October of 2024, and it was I stitched on this for 16 active stitching days. In November, I finished up Practical Magic by The Primitive Hare. This piece I started with my friend Megan, the Seattle stitcher. Megan actually gifted me this linen and we started it together, which is so kind of her. We started this in September of 2023 and I wrapped it up in November of 24. I did a good bit on this year. I think at the beginning of the year, I'd only had Magic, these candles, and this here. So I did the whole practical, all the girls, the margaritas, the vines, and the the backstitched quote at the top. There is also included in the chart along this bottom edge some black border, but I omitted it. I don't think the piece needs it. I think it looks finished without it, and frankly I was done working on it. So that's the combination of things that led to this. The only thing I did was I did swap out one of the gentle arts that's called for, was too close to 310, so I swapped it out for a different one just to have some differentiation between their cloaks and their dresses. But yeah, that is Practical Magic. I did stitch on this year while I watched Practical Magic, which is part of the fun of doing like a movie themed piece or a TV themed piece, is watching that while you're working on it. And yeah, so much fun. The linen's beautiful. It's 30 count, so I used 2 strands, and that is Practical Magic. Next up is one of my favorite safs of the year. This was a November start and finish between me, my friends Cam and Marjorie. This is Black Cherry Tart by Plum Street Samplers. I could literally eat this. It's already in a pie pan. It's so cute, so freaking cute. I stitched this on 36 count Bramble by Picture This Plus with all the called for DMCs. And then I finished it in a little 5-inch tart pan with Lady Dot Creates Mossy pom-pom trim. And it is so cute. This is arguably one of my favorite small finishes of all time. I need more circular smalls so that I can make more tart pans because I'm obsessed. It's so cute. The birds are gorgeous. The colors are amazing. And on this kind of gray toned linen, I think it pops so much. One of my favorites. I worked on this for 2 days just to knock it out. And the coverage is 1 strand on the 36. So that is Black Cherry Tart. And we've made it to the December finishes. We've now gotten to the big boys of the year. This year I had 2 big projects that I was working on as overarching projects for the year with the intention of getting them done. And I'm happy to report that I did finish both of them. First one is Song of the Nightingale by Modern Folk Embroidery. This I've stitched with a pink conversion that I made on 36 count heirloom lace linen by Color and Cotton. And it is so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So this piece I stitched for a grand total of 47 days in 2024 to knock out the 24,000 stitches. I'll take you in close here. It is beautiful. It is so amazing. I stitched this with Catherine of Paper Crane Stitches over on Instagram, and I have no regrets. I started this in December 6th of 2023, and I finished it on December 4th of 2024. So it wasn't even a whip for a whole year, which is exciting. But one of my 2 biggest finishes of the year, and I could not be more happy with it. Again, this is 1 stranded coverage on 36. And I think it looks great. I'm literally speechless. I can't wait to have this on my wall too. I am a little bit hung up on frame color, but I'll figure it out. And I do intend to frame it myself. I think it's gonna be so cute hung up with my other pink pieces I finished this year. And I'm so happy with it. And my other huge finish of the year is the Vanity Sampler by Hello from Liz Mathews. If you were watching my floss tubes, I have not shown this finish on my regular floss tubes yet, so it's a sneak preview. But this I started with my friend Cameron of Cam the Stitcher in August of 2023, and we made this our monthly goal stitch together for the year of 2024. I'm stitching this on 40 count spilled coffee linen by Extra Designs. With my friend Cam's DMC conversion. So Cam developed this beautiful moody pink Victorian goth color conversion, and it's amazing. The sampler turned out beautifully. It's very hard to see, but we snuck each other's initials on the other side of that flower, just very faint, so they wouldn't be very obvious. But I am absolutely stunned with this one. I stitched on this for a total of 56 days of the time it was a whip, and that's amazing. I had 56 sessions to get this done. Now, Cam's conversion, when she stitched hers, she did a 1-to-1, swapping each color for color in the sampler. I played around with my color choices a bit. I used this dark pink a little bit more dominantly through the chart and this dark purple. So I did make a few changes to the bottom portion and to some of these berry bowls where I inverted the pinks, but that was just a case-by-case basis. For the most part, I did use Cam's conversion. It's very easy in a piece like this, though, to just kind of be like, well, I want these flowers to be the dark pink, and stitch in that way and mirror it on the other side. So I'm obsessed. Cam absolutely killed this conversion, and I have no notes. One of my absolute favorite finishes of all time. Again, will look cool with all the pink pieces I finished. There definitely was a theme this year of the pink. And then the final unique project before we talk about Christmas that I finished in 2024 was my New Year's Eve finish. This is another one Flosstube hasn't seen yet. But when I was sitting down to do my New Year's Eve 12x12, which is a stitching challenge for New Year's Eve, where you stitch on a different project every hour for 12 hours leading up to the new year, and then you typically will start something new after midnight as your first start of the year. Now, I decided to stitch monogamously because I started doing that last year to copy my friend Elizabeth of Frizzy Lizzy Stitches, and I love it. I think that works really well for me. I get a lot of good progress. And I was originally intending to work on a night walk down with a blue flower, but I decided at the last minute to try and do a finishing challenge for New Year's Eve, and I worked on Sally Spencer by Birds of a Feather. This is an out of print chart that I'm obsessed with. I borrowed this chart from a friend, and I'm so happy I can finally send it back now. But I love this. I started this in September 2023, finished it December 31st of 2024, my final finish of the year, and I have no notes. I stitched this on 40 count Duxbury linen by Fox and Rabbit with the HDF Silks conversion. I recharted my name in here instead of Sally Spencer's, and I did remove some of the pairs of initials throughout the piece, but I did about 1,500 stitches on this on New Year's Eve to wrap it up, and I finished somewhere around, I think, 11 p.m. Central. So it was a finish right almost up until the bell. So that was a fun challenge. I honestly, when I started the day, I didn't think I could get 1,500 stitches in the time allotted. So I was a little bit worried I was gonna attempt to finish this and then fall short, but I did. So let me get you in close. The quote on this sampler is one of my absolute favorite quotes on samplers. I love it so much, and I'm very grateful that I got the chance to stitch this. And that was my final finish of 2024. I do have one more project to talk about with some finishes throughout the year on it, so let me go grab that and I will be right back. So my final finish of 2024 is a project that's all in its own category. This is simultaneously a finish and a start, and it is the Schrodinger's cat of whips. But I am stitching all 12 of the Days of Christmas samplers by Hello from Liz Mathews on one big giant piece of fabric. So at the end of 2024, I had just finished the first day of Christmas. So my goal was to finish through the 6th and halfway of 7th by the end of 2024. You can see I fell a little bit behind, but I think I can play catch up. So in January, I'm going to be finishing out this one and finishing out the 4th day throughout 2024 or 2025. But I finished the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 5th day, and the 6th day. I'm stitching all with the called for NPI silks. So Cam and I, my friend Cam, are stitching half of a day of Christmas every month with the intention of getting them done by the end of 2025. So I have some ground to make up, but I think I can do it. I have faith in myself, but this is an absolutely massive cut of fabric. It is going to be 4 samplers across by 3 samplers high. So I think basically by girl measuring, we're gonna have plenty of margin here at the bottom, but I am so excited. This is gonna be such a cool heirloom piece, and even though I did not get quite as much done on it as I wanted to this year, it still does deserve some recognition. In this piece, I think I put a lot of stitches. I don't know how many, hold on. So in this piece so far, I have put 26,419 stitches, and I have about 30,745 left to go. That is until I add in the stitching numbers for this 12th day of Christmas, which hasn't been released yet. So there will be more, probably somewhere in the 35 to 37 range left to go. So almost halfway, but I'm so in love with this piece. I'm enamored with it. And while it is a difficult goal that we have set and a grueling pace, it is going to be so worth it to have this whole thing finished by the end of 2025. So that is the final finish that I have of the year. I do want to talk about plans for just a quick second. I have kind of developed a plan for 2025. But if you're only here to see the finishes, this is where you can off-road, and we will talk more about plans. Okay, so I am using my Notion this year. Notion is an amazing app that I use in conjunction with Markup, RXP, which is like a digital highlighter. And then my Notion is where I kind of keep track of everything. It's like a digital cross-stitch journal. I use the template that was created by Jeaneatte that I've done a lot of edits to myself. And I am planning on doing a full in-depth tour of my Notion at some point here in the near future, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. So for now, I'm gonna throw up a couple screenshots of some ideas that I'm talking about, and I will give you a full tour later when I have the time. So essentially, I'm using two really important features of my Notion template to track my 2025 goal stitching. And that is the monthly goal breakdown that my friend Elizabeth the Frizzy Lizzy Stitches created. This has been amazing. So I'm gonna pop this over the screen here, but you can see at a glance, my cross stitches are broken down into monthly goals. So everything is trying to get to the nearest quarter. I also do count 10% in there as well, because that's a very easy starting marker for me. So this is really great because it lets me know what projects are what stage of completion relative to their size. And I can actually work for the next percentage goal when I pick it up. And that's really motivating for me. I know these numbers might be overwhelming for a lot of people, but it gives me motivation. Essentially, if I'm done working on a project and I'm ready to move on, but I have like 300 stitches until it hits 75%, I'll keep going. So this page is really great. I have my goals organized there, and that allows me to also make my monthly goals a little bit easier because I know roughly how many stitches it's going to take me to get to the next percentage point. So this is the first tool that I'm using. And then the second page that I'm using is my monthly landing pages. Now I can't show you January because I have a secret stitch in January, but I can show you February. So I have included in this monthly breakdown the list of goals that are check marked that I can cross off as I do them, any WIP birthdays that happen in that month, a goal breakdown. So this contains at a glance all the goals that I want to get done in the month. So it might be like 25% on something and 50% on something else and fully finishing something else. There's a calendar and progress photos, a list of starts and finishes, and a monthly breakdown that breaks down the total month of stitching and then also stitches by WIP on a project. So you can see that in January I did this many stitches on this project, and I love this. I've done a lot of customizations to this page, but this is kind of my monthly landing page that I look at all the time when I am actively stitching. So those are the two things you kind of need to know. But other than that, I have made a goal breakdown to try and touch everything that I have going in 2025. I didn't do that in 2024 and I didn't feel good about it. There are quite a few projects that I didn't touch at all this year, or last year, I should say. So we're gonna work on that. We're gonna be better. The other restriction that I've given myself goal-wise is that I want to only have maximum one start a month. Last year I did a low starts year, but the issue was I didn't quantify low starts. So in the moment, it didn't feel like I was starting a ton. And certainly I started far fewer things in 2024 than I did in 2023, by more than half. So I did do good in the sense of doing good, but I really want to funnel into bigger WIPs that I've done this year. So I am going to try and not funnel into starts as much. And so I'm trying to start less. So I gave myself a number. So that's one start every month. If I don't use the start in that month, I can let it roll over or I can let it expire. So that is very scary to me. I certainly have not been a starting fiend in the past several months, but one start a month to hold myself to is very difficult. I know my friend Cameron is also adding in some rules for starting smalls, but I'm going to try and be good and really stick to those 12. I'm going to call it my baker's dozen starts. So one start a month, and then if I really want to, I can add a 13th in there. The only thing that's outside of that is a piece that I have to do for a monthly swap in February, because I had planned on starting that piece in December. So that one's not counting to my number, but everything else is. So let's go a little bit month by month and I'll kind of tell you what I'm thinking about focusing on. Essentially, I've broken down everything and sorted them into months by vibe. And then in that month, I'll work on those projects. There's some months where I'm gonna crank out a lot of finishes and some months where I might not. And projects can be worked on in more than 1 month, but the idea is that at least everything is getting touched if I follow the schedule. The actual goal breakdown within that month, I'm not super concerned about. It's mostly just touching everything and really trying to focus in on those projects during that period of time. I am a seasonal stitcher, so a lot of these I typically only work on in the season that they're in anyway, so I don't foresee not wanting to work on that at that time being an issue because so many of them are for that specific moment. But I digress. The goal is to touch everything. So these are my tentative plans. They will change because life happens, right? But this is tentative. So first up, we have January. In January, I'll be finishing the 7th day of Christmas and starting my first monthly goal on Secret Garden. My friend Cam and I, like we did Vanity Sampler in 2024, are gonna be doing a combination of projects this year. We're gonna work a little bit on Secret Garden by Hello from Liz Mathews and a little bit on Autumn Cloche. So first half of the year will be Secret Garden. Then I'd like to finish my Biscornu that I started at StitchCon last year, which should be very easy. I'd like to finish my Peaky Blinders project, but I'm not sure if that's gonna happen. That might be a stretch goal. Some of these goals are unattainable, but I'm gonna write them down anyway, because if you don't try, you can't succeed, right? I'd like to finish Woodland Wonder by Glendon Place. That was my shame whip that made it into 2025, and it has to go. So I'm gonna buckle down, I'm gonna pull my big girl pants on, and I'm going to finish the beading on that project if it kills me. So hold me to it, Flosstube, okay? And then I am going to be starting and finishing my Secret Swap project. I can't wait to show you guys what this is, but I can't let my partner know what it is yet. So I will definitely be showing you what it is when we've done the swap in February. So that is my little girlies swap that I'll be doing then as well. And that's it for February. Those are my January focus projects. Already getting tongue-tied. In February, I need to hit 50% on the 8th day of Christmas and do another monthly check-in on Secret Garden. Then I'm gonna be starting my Hearts Design by Blackbird with my friend Rachel. So I'd like to ideally start that and get it to 50%. I'd like to finish my chatelaine, which is arguably the hardest goal on this list, but it is a focus project and I'd like to get it done. It's one of my 2022 whips and I am really trying to finish my oldest whips this year, so that is a focus. I'd also ideally like to hit 50% on Cotton Swirl by Kathy Barrick, and I'd like to finish Oh Joyous Day by Blackbird. Another likely impossible goal, considering I'm only at 50% on that project, but I love that piece so much, and every time I work on it, I just want to keep going. So I'm hoping I can kind of carry that energy when I pick it up in February. And February was my second highest stitching month in 2024, so I'm interested to see if that trend will carry on. Then in March, I'm going to be finishing up the 8th day of Christmas, doing another plug-in on Secret Garden. I am buckling down on Night Walk Down in March of this year. That was one that didn't get touched last year, and I love that piece. I've been having some fabric issues, so I'm gonna get those sorted in March and then commit to one and go. So I'd like to ideally get to 50%. I think that's pretty unattainable, even if I do continue on the fabric that I've been going on. But if I do restart it, ideally 25, 50 if I can get lucky. I'd also like to hit 50% on my Things Unseen sampler. This is another really fun one I started last year. But again, focusing more on the older whips, but progress is progress on the newer stuff too. And I'd like to finish My Flowers by Boomerang Stitches. That is a very easy finish for me, and I think that goal is the most attainable on my March list. In April, 50% on the 9th day of Christmas and another monthly plug-in at Secret Garden. Then I want to buckle down on Rejoice Evermore. This is my biggest sampler from 2022, and I am a little bit worried about this project sticking around for forever, and I've seen so many people on Flosstube work on it. It is beautiful, and I want more done on it, so that is the biggest focus. I'd also like to finish Pink Sparrow Sampler by Brenda Gervais. My friend Cam wants to pass the stash after I finish that one, so I'm going to be passing the project to her. So I'd like to get it done so I can take her the chart in May when I see her at Stitch North. And I'd like to maybe hit 25% on Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. I started that for my friend Megan's birthday, and Megan's birthday is in April. So ideally I can knock that out and work on that around her birthday again. In May, finishing up the 9th day of Christmas and finishing Secret Garden. We're taking 5 months on Secret Garden, so we can take 7 on Autumn Cloche. So that should be a finish, hopefully at Stitch North. I think that might be a fun finish it together thing if we're both in the right space for it. Then it is Manning May in May, which is a sal that my friends and I started to work on Carolyn Manning projects in the month of May. So I'll be plugging away at my existing Carolyn Manning, trying to get it from 25% to 50. another lofty goal, but I do stitch that one in hand, and I did have a lot of fun focusing on it last year, so I'm anticipating that should be pretty good. A stretch goal to finish Weeds and Wildflowers, because I'm going to be working on that at an Evertotes retreat, and it was an Evertotes box. I think I'll definitely get progress. I don't know if it'll get done. And I'd like to hit 75% done on my Study in Nature by the Artsy Housewife. I just love that piece, and last time I worked on it, it was addicting. So I don't foresee myself wanting to put it down when I pick it back up. In June, I will be hitting a third of the way done on the 10th day of Christmas. The 10th day of Christmas is the second densest piece on the entire sampler. So in the 2 years that Cam and I are working on this, there are 2 backup months, and I used one of the backup months this year, so we have 1 backup month next year, and I'm using it on the 10th day. So that will be spread over 3. Then our first monthly goal on Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Mathews. I'd like to hit 33%, so a third of the way done on my bookcase by Galliana Cross Stitch. Hopefully my friends and I will have swapped that one around and will come back to me, and I can plug away at more. I'd like to finish Summer Quakers. This is another 2022 whip that really just needs to be finished. So I'd like to work on that more. I'm also very not loving my fabric and floss combo, but I've committed too hard to it. So we're gonna get it done so it can be done. And I'd also like to finish Margaret Hull by Quaint Rose Needle Arts. This is an adorable sampler. It's a very airy and open piece, and I think it only has about 5,000 left. So I think I could crank it out if I really focused in. In July, another third on the 10th day, and another Autumn Cloche goal. This is a 2 project month, so not 3, and I'd like to really go ham on Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais. I didn't touch this one in 2024, and it is beautiful. So, and a very easy stitch from what I remember when I worked on it. And I'd like to finish the Woodpecker. I don't have very much done on the Woodpecker by Cottage Garden Samplings, but I think I can plug away at it, and I think I can get it done if I sat down and focused on it. So in a month with not as much going on, I'm excited. Another stretch goal for this month that I didn't put on here, but since this project, or this month has less projects, I would like to focus in on the 4th day of Christmas by Hello from Liz Mathews. I think that also fits in with the Christmas in July spirit. So that's another month to try and get more on the 4th day to knock that out. In August, I'll be finishing the 10th day of Christmas. Another Autumn Cloche. I'd like to hit 25% on Turkish Delight by Rosewood Manor. This is one that I started last year that has an abysmal start, so it needs to get done. And I want to finish Jack's Bash by Plum Street. This is another one that every time I pick it up, I don't want to put it down, and so I think once I'm ready to get it done this year. I think even with that giant over 1 quote, I'm ready. So I'm thinking August is the month for that. And then it will be available for me to fully finish in enough time to put it out with my fall decor. In September, 50% on the 11th day, and another Autumn Cloche goal. I want to finish Stitcher's Resolution, which is the piece I adopted from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch this year, and it's very small and adorable. It fits in really well with the sampler September of it all, and I love that. Speaking of sampler September, the other focus projects are At Home by Brenda Gervais. This is a huge sampler that I don't have very much done on, so I'd like to hit that one to 25%. I got it above 10 this year, so that's just 10% on it. And I'd like to hit 50% on In the Butterfly's Garden by 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. I don't also have very much done on that one, but it is beautiful, and it's sampler September, so I'm gonna buckle down on my samplers. In October, we'll be finishing the 11th day of Christmas and another Autumn Cloche. I'd like to finish Boost Book Haunt by Hello from Liz Mathews. I have devoted very little time to that project, and I have developed the coolest color conversion for it, so I want to see it come to fruition. I want to get it done. I'd also like to hit realistically 50, maybe 75% on A Wavy Ride by Blackbird Designs, another one I didn't touch much this year. And I'd like to finish Pumpkin House, which is very doable, by Hello from Liz Mathews. Such a good one. In November, I will be doing 50% on the 12th day of Christmas. Don't know what it looks like yet, but I'll be doing that. Another Autumn Cloche goal. I'd like to hit 33% on Dark Golden Delicious by the Artsy Housewife, another one I didn't touch last year. So I'd like to take that from, I think it's sitting at 2% complete now, to a third of the way done. which is a lot, but I think I can handle it. And I'd like to finish Plaid Bird by Hello from Liz Mathews. That's not a very big chart, and I think that is a very reasonable goal for me to hit. And finally, in December, a finish on the 12th day of Christmas and a finish on all 12 of the samplers. So a big overall 12 days of Christmas finish, and a finish on Autumn Cloche, which is an existing 2022 whip, so another one bites the dust. I'd also like to finish 'Tis the Season by Blackbird Designs. It's a pretty small chart, and I have a chunk of progress done now. And I would like to get more done on my Christmas Garden by Blackbird, but obviously Autumn Cloche and Days of Christmas are going to take priority. If I still have not finished the 4th day of Christmas, it will have to get done in December, and other stuff will have to go by the wayside. It's just how it will be. And then hopefully in December of 2026, I can focus very heavily on Christmas Garden. And that is everything. So that is my 2025 month at a glance. That gives me the chance to, if I do start something, I should be able to get a solid start in on it before I put it away. But I do anticipate having some months of not starting anything. January and February, I have something started. March is market, so I'm probably gonna wanna start something after meeting up with Cam. In April, I don't have any planned starts. In May, I'll probably start something for Stitch North, and June for Stitch Con. But hopefully when I do start something, it can be a little bit smaller this year, since I am trying to get so much progress on big whips. But that is everything. So I hope you enjoyed this finish parade and goal setting. If you are doing any goal challenges for the new year or participating in any stitch alongs, let me know. I really would love to hear what you're doing, what processes work for you. I know a lot of people do like things like Whip Go or Pick a Whip, which I will also probably participate in Pick a Whip that my friend Marjorie Maid does when I can. But I think this is what's working for me right now. I'm going to kind of stick with this. I like having an idea of what I want to work on every month. Fergus. I like having an idea of what I want to work on every month. That helps with my decision fatigue, and I think it's going to really help me lock in and knock out some good progress this year. So cheers, Happy New Year, and thank you for coming along with me on this one. I'll catch you in my next regularly scheduled floss tube. Bye!